Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Banter. This knife has definitely been, all over Instagram and all over YouTube, and most people are aware of it by now. If you're not aware of it, this knife was designed by Ben Peterson. Who's Ben Peterson? That's the gentleman who used to work at Blade HQ, and most of you guys are familiar with his "What is up, guys?" That whole thing. I am obviously not the right voice for that. I can't do it, despite my best efforts to sound like Ben. I can't. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed watching him on the Blade HQ YouTube channel, and I tried to tune into every single one. Entertaining, insightful, just a cool guy. I don't know him personally. I've never talked to him before, but yeah, tons of entertainment from Ben Peterson. So he had this rule. He actually had a bunch of different rules about, like all of us, we have things that we look for in folding knives, things that we consider good or bad for this or that, right? But one of the, main ones was the whole no longer than my index finger thing. And I can see how that translated into this design. Very, very simple design. There's a lot of interesting little details here, and we're going to talk all about it. First off, I'd like to say thank you. By the way, this was sent to me by the Apex Pass Around group. Shout out to the Apex Pass Around group. Thank you so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. If you'd like to get your hands on some cool stickers and other benefits, there is, of course, a link down in the description. You're supporting me in the world to me. And please follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. Overall length of the Banter coming in at 6.5 inches. Blade length coming in under 3 inches. That's great. Cutting edge is coming in at like 2.65, something like that. This is going to be legal for a lot of people who have that whole 3-inch law. If you can't carry a locking knife in your local area, that's unfortunate. But for a lot of people here in the United States who can't carry knives that are over 3 inches, you can carry this one. So that's pretty cool. So that's nice. It's a big deal considering, I'm going to go ahead and say this, I wear an XL glove, and I'm pretty confined in terms of handle space, but I can get a full 4-finger grip on this, which is not something that I expected at all. I looked at that, I looked at the measurements, and I thought, nope, that's going to be too small. A lot of people are interested in this, so I'm going to review it, but no, you know what? I really can. This is more so designed as a convenient EDC cutting tool versus an ultra hard use, ultra versatile, use it for anything type of knife, right? This was designed as an EDC knife, something that is practical and simple for somebody who is looking for a quality cutting tool that they can carry with them and use for simple cutting tasks throughout the day. That was achieved. If you're wondering, 3 minutes into this review, you're wondering you got to sit around for a full 20-minute Metal Complex review to find out if this thing was designed well, if the intention of the design was carried out. Yeah, this is exactly that. I'll go ahead and do my usual thing, but that's, mission accomplished for sure. Size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Rat 1 is coming in at 8.6 inches overall. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? Spyderco PM2 is coming in at 8.3 inches overall. How about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue? Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches overall. And last but not least, the smallest knife that I generally carry, the Spyderco Para 3. Spyderco Para 3 is coming in at 7.25 inches overall. Blade length or cutting edge length is almost identical to the Para 3. So that's pretty cool. How's the action of this guy? So this knife is made by obviously. It says right on the front. That means that it is manufactured in China. I know some people have, certain thoughts against that or whatever. Think what you want, do what you want. It's your money. Spend it how you want to. There will be links for this guy, by the way, down in the description. Depending on when you're watching this and when it actually uploads, I pre-record my content, so you guys are likely seeing this a couple of weeks after I've recorded it, which means these may or may not be in stock. I will link them. You can check it. If you're watching this a year in the future or 6 months in the future, and you're interested in it, check the link. It may or may not be available. They come in 2 different forms, by the way. This all black, the black stonewash, sort of a dark stonewash, and then this the blue thumb stud, and then they come in a blue G10 and a satin finished blade. So there's a couple of different options there. Ben being somebody who really likes blue. A lot of his daily carry knives were blue if you watch the stuff on Blade HQ. So yeah. Anyways, the action is good. The action feels much like, what you'd expect. A Wii knife, one that is, fairly compact and small and lightweight, right? It's nice and smooth. It takes a little bit of a wiggle. You can easily do the reverse flick. You can easily do the standard flick. It's incredibly easy to engage despite not having a scallop behind the area where you're meant to engage the thumb stud. Do it left-handed there for you guys so you can look. I am definitely not left-handed. It's just incredibly easy to manipulate. There's nothing to complain about in the action department. How about carry profile? So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see there, it's about this exact same, maybe perhaps a little bit thicker than the Para 3. Not that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and do length and height up against two knives that are a bit awkward in the pocket, but nobody ever really seems to complain about. Yeah, this is basically a little rectangle. I mean, not really. If it were a rectangle, it would be bothersome, but the corners and things are knocked down to essentially complement the human hand to make it easy to manipulate. Length and height, nowhere near as big as the PM2 and even the Para 3. Honestly, the Para 3 makes it look really tiny, and that's interesting. That I like I said, I never would have guessed that I'm not saying because I wear an XL glove, I have massive hands. I think like XL glove means slightly larger than average size hands, right? So most people are going to be able to get a full purchase on this guy, and you wouldn't guess that looking at the size of it, right? The slight excess thickness is not something that you're going to notice at all, by the way. Let's go ahead and... What the heck happened to my calipers? Are they just gone today? Looks like... I guess they took off. Well, the blade stock is not thick at all. I seem to remember reading, that it was like 80,000. There they are. Let's measure. I think I remember seeing somewhere that it was like 80 thousandths, maybe. Let's take a look. Okay, 96. Let's do it again. Just test for accuracy. Yeah, not a thick blade stock at all. Let's go ahead and take a look inside. Whoops. Oh my gosh. The FW3T today really coming in hot. Yeah, there's no milling or anything on the inside, but what we've got is, I believe these are, is there a cartridge liner on the inside? Yeah, there is. It looks like it. It's hard to tell because there's debris sitting on the inside here, and I decided not to wipe it out before I started the review. But I believe there's a small steel cartridge liner on the non-lock side, and we should be able to see it now. Is that the case? No, it's just, I'm wrong. It's just G10 on this side, and then you have the countersunk liner lock. You can see the liner is milled into the, or there's a spot milled into the G10 to accept the liner. So that's nice. Essentially, my point is, God, that took way too long, is the end result is that this is not a heavyweight knife. This is 2.86 ounces, which is right on the ounce and inch mark. It's under the 4 ounce mark. It's under the 3 ounce mark. This is, for me, my thing is on this channel, if it's under 3 ounces, it's ultra lightweight. A 1.5 ounce knife and a 2.5 ounce knife, it's not enough for me to register. This is ultra lightweight. The culmination of all this information is that this is going to be easy to carry no matter what it is that you like to wear. As long as you like to wear pants, this is going to be something that's easy to carry. For those of you who don't wear pants, I'm sorry, this probably isn't going to work for you. But jeans, khakis, athletic shorts, skinny jeans, whatever, leather pants even, this is going to be just fine. You're going to be able to carry this and it's going to be comfortable, so that's great. Hardware check. Go ahead and get out my tools here. My tools are listed down in the description. They are very inexpensive and very recommendable. The flashlights are too, if you're wondering. Let's check that pivot. I'm 99% certain that's going to be T8. And I think the body screw, because there's two. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's the pocket clip screws. Are those? Those aren't T8. No. Pocket clip screws are T6, but the body screws are T8, which is wonderful. So I don't like T6 because the bit heads can strip, and the screws themselves are a little easier to strip than T8. But that's nice that the main adjustment heads are all T8. I'm really happy with that. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's take a look at the anatomy here. This to the common knife enthusiast, there's really nothing striking going on here. I am a fan of simplicity. I'm a fan of designs that result in, you know, basically utilitarian benefit, right? And that has that here. The whole design is great. You know, ergonomically, it's not an absolute masterpiece, but my hand fits comfortably around the knife. The jimping is enough to engage your thumb. I don't know why, but I kind of want it to extend a little bit further up there. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, I mean, just trying to think of using this knife for whatever, like simple opening boxes, opening packages, you know, processing a little bit of rubber or wood, or just, you know, common EDC around the house style tasks, or, you know, perhaps a little bit beyond that. It's going to be just fine. It's easy to hang on to. It's comfortable. You are going to be a little bit cramped in here, but that's, you know, to make sure that the whole thing is nice and compact. I do appreciate that it's not a long, slender thing. You know, I found with the bug out, it was so skinny, and that on top of that, so lightweight that it felt like I'd be like, is my knife in my pocket? I would forget. I kind of like that this is a little bit taller. I don't like knives to be too long and skinny, right? And that's depends on the longer, like if this thing were 10 inches long, it would look long and skinny, right? But because it is only 6.5 inches long, you know, this size is about right. I wouldn't want this thing to be, you know, bug out skinniness or bug out narrowness, right? I like the mini bug out is almost like it's just too tiny. This feels like a solid object. You know, I'm going to be reminded, at least because of its profile, that it is in my pocket, and I appreciate that. And also makes me feel a little bit better about hanging on to this thing. I just appreciate that. It fills out the hand a little bit for being a small knife, and that's something that's nice. All the corners, all the edges are nicely rounded off. I think I do appreciate that there's not like specific lines in here that kind of force your fingers into a certain spot, because there's not a lot of room on the handle, right? So I'm sure a lot of people are looking at this like, why didn't they make like suggested, you know, curvatures and things where like your index finger would fall into place? I think it's because the handle is so small. That would make it feel more, you know, like this finger has to go here and this finger has to go, right? It would just create for a less than comfortable experience. So the ergonomics aren't like, oh my gosh, out of this world excellent, but they're good. You know, it's nice and simple, and the lines all look good, and it's comfortable to hang on to. So I don't really have much to complain about there. The thumb stud is excellent. It's very simple. Like I said, there's no scallop underneath here to engage, but it doesn't need it. This is incredibly easy and incredibly, you know, it's got some nice fidget factor to it. You know, a lot of times people define fidget factor as like multiple forms of deployments or different ways that there's only a couple of ways to open this, right? You can use a thumb. I mean, I guess you can manually wheel it out, or you can do the reverse flick, right? But because of how simple it is to engage and manipulate, yeah, I can see myself sitting on the couch just kind of flipping it over and over and over again. It's safe to engage and disengage. There's nothing that feels, you know, overly awkward. There's a little bit of an area right here. You got to really make sure if you're going to let the blade come down on your thumb, that the top of your thumb is going to come right into that sharpening choil, because if you're back here, it's going to catch your finger or your fingernail, right? But well, I'm really failed at that one. Yeah, I mean, most of the time you just move your thumb out of the way and it's fine. Easy to manipulate, right? Simple drop point blade. We've got a flat that carries out about 85% the length of the blade. So as far as, you know, as strong as a blade that's this thin on the spine can be, you know, there is some nice excess material out here at the tip. So I wouldn't say it's ultra delicate, but this is not a knife that you want to stab into a piece of wood and pry around with. Something that you would cut with, right? But there's a little bit of reinforcement there. This thing gets wonderfully thin behind the edge. This is definitely a performer. It's just going to make, you know, this is a knife that's meant to get out of your pocket quick, make a cut, put it back away, no fuss, no frill, none of that. It's a knife that's made to be used, and not really much. I mean, it sounds silly to say because it's a knife, right? All knives should be meant. But a lot of knives have extra design elements that make it it's like a much bigger experience getting it out of your pocket and making a cut, and you take a moment to appreciate the different lines and the different finishes and the contrasting colors or whatever, reflectivities. That's not what's going on here. This is get it out, use it, put it away. And it's going to do that just fine. That's what it was designed to be. And that's another one of those things that just complements what I said at the beginning. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. A little bit of the cutting path or a little bit of the thumb stud is in the cutting path, just a little bit. Not that big of a deal. For the vast majority of us, the task that we're going to be using this knife for, it's going to do that just fine. I like that I can kind of get up here and rest my index finger down on the tip and kind of push that blade into things. And in terms of like the push cuts, it's going to be fine because you're able to get up right behind the edge without feeling like you're really because this area right here really does keep your index finger back. And then for your slicing task, it's going to be just fine as well. I like how the Wii pivot looks. I've never had an issue with that. I like that on this black version, they chose black hardware. I think that looks nice. Got a couple of really simple black standoffs in there, so its open body pillar construction should be easy to clean out, despite my efforts before with my t-shirt. The pocket clip is all right. I like everything about it, and truthfully, it functions just fine. I have this weird thing about pocket clips where I want them to consistently come down and then swoop up. This does that, but it's like here and then down and then it swoops up. That's a stupid nitpick. There would be no way for me to prove that in every conceivable circumstance this design is slightly better than this design. That's my mental, like I see that and I'm like, oh, I wish that like that's just me being whiny and whatever. The pocket clip is great. The screws are recessed. It carries deep. It's gonna find its way over the seam of your pocket, and it's gonna carry comfortably. So no big deal. The adjustment side of the pivot is on this side, and otherwise it's pretty much the same. There is a lanyard hole for people who like lanyards. It's nice and large, so you should be able to fit some 550 in there. The knife is centered. Let's see if we can get it right on. The knife is perfectly centered, and the knife locks up at about 50%. Absolutely solid, no blade play up, down, left, and right, which is what I expect from Wii knives. So, what does this knife come in at? I think this comes in at like between 100 and 110 bucks. By the way, what's the blade steel? We kind of skipped over that. S35VN. Wii Knives loves S35VN, and I love S35VN too. In fact, it's probably my second favorite steel of all time. Stainless. Holds an edge for a long time, pretty easy to sharpen, relatively tough for a stainless steel. It's a good steel. This is a very, very preferable. Might be becoming a little bit boring now in 2020, but yeah, it's a super steel, and it's gonna do what it was. I think it's one of the best choices they could have made for this knife. So can I recommend this knife? Yeah, like I said at the beginning, I can recommend it definitely. 100 to 110 bucks, I think, is what they're coming in at. This is definitely a knife that I think, there's nothing really going on here for a collector, right? If you're a knife collector, there's nothing here for you. If you're an enthusiast, you might just, the enthusiast part of you might appreciate how incredibly utilitarian the design is. It is really focused on just being a straightforward, easy to manipulate tool. And as an enthusiast, I like all the crazy stuff. I like the Timascus and the freaking laminate steels and the crazy inlays and all that, but I do appreciate just a good utilitarian design, something that you can throw in your pocket and not have to think twice about. I do appreciate elements like that, definitely. For those of you not looking for anything other than a nice, simple cutting tool, you want to spend a little bit more money than what you would spend at like Walmart or your local hardware store, right? You want to get a good quality tool that's going to last you for a while, but you don't care about any of the excess. I would say every dollar that is spent on this knife is well worth it. It is going 100% towards the design. Can you get a knife that will perform just as well for a little bit less? Yeah, probably. It depends on what you like, in terms of the dimensions and the size and the steel and all that, and whether or not you care about certain elements. But from my perspective, as an enthusiast who does appreciate a design that is geared 100% towards utility, yeah, I can see value in this. Every dollar, that went into this, I can see the value there. So I can 100% recommend it. There's really nothing else special about this. There's nothing that makes me like, wow, and get super excited. You guys have seen me like freak out about certain knives and in different price range. Sometimes I lose it for budget knives, and sometimes I lose it for full custom knives that are thousands of dollars, right? I never know exactly what's going to set my, what's going to light my fuse and set me off. There's nothing here that really does that for me, but my goodness, can I appreciate it for what it is. Ben set out to design something that was straightforward and utilitarian, and he accomplished exactly that. Is this going to be for everybody? No, but it certainly is going to be great for a lot of people, especially people who are not knife people. You know, like if you want to, buy a gift knife for somebody, this is great. This is great. They can use it. They don't have to worry about it corroding, or, as long as they're not doing anything stupid with it, it's built well. It's going to stay together. This is great. I can recommend it to you. You guys can recommend it to other people. And, if you're looking for a good knife to give as a gift for birthday, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas, right? Whatever, if you got to want to make up a holiday, then to give this knife, then yeah, this is great. You kind of have to like smaller knives, and you definitely have to have hands that are my size or smaller. I think my hands are about on the line, right? I can feel the meat of my pinky and my index finger wanting to teeter over the edge there. But yeah, if that all sounds good to you, pick this up. As like I said right now, I just checked, and I don't know if they're in stock or not. When I checked, it said that they weren't, but they might be. So you can check out the links in the description. I'd like to see some different colors. I'd like to see, like a gray G10 and a tumbled blade, and maybe just the satin hardware and the satin thumb studs. I'd like to see red, right? It'd be cool if they did this knife in a million different colors. That'd be pretty neat. I would venture to guess that Blade HQ will do alternate exclusive variants of this, but that's just my guess. But yeah, this is good. It's very simple, not super flashy. Not the most exciting thing that's ever come across my table, but very, very good. I can absolutely recommend this knife. So it'll be going on my most recommended knives playlist. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it for today's review. I would encourage you to follow me on Instagram. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.